Class structure. In the beginning of a typical jiu-jitsu class, the instructor will have everybody line up by belt rank. From there, you'll bow in. You might start doing some exercises then. There might be some jogging, some calisthenics, some jiu-jitsu related solo movement drills, and also some partner drills that might review a pass technique or get you prepped for a technique being taught that class. Sparring rules. Please remember, we are friends and training partners here. Most of our members do not do this professionally, but for hobby, exercise, and enjoyment of the art. They have jobs to go to and families to provide for. So with that said, safety is essential, and control over your ego and body is a must. Illegal techniques. So in order to try to protect our members while on the mat, we do have a list of techniques that are not allowed to be used. Some of these are obvious, some not so obvious. The first one is slamming. So slamming is when you have somebody picked up off the mat and you violently throw them back to the mat. This is in contrast to something like a double leg takedown, where you may elevate your partner off the floor, but you have control over the impact. So there's a big difference between lifting somebody up and throwing them to the mat with your body weight behind it, and lifting somebody and having enough control to safely put them down. Likewise, you must be careful and not spike somebody on their neck or head. This is any technique that as you fall with your partner, you're allowing their head or neck to make contact with the floor first. So that's obviously very dangerous and can lead to serious neck and back injuries. Fish hooking is the act of placing your fingers in somebody's mouth and pulling. Obviously gross and dangerous for a number of reasons. Eye gouging, please watch your partner's eyes. You should not be trying to make contact with your partner's eyes, either on purpose or accidentally. Fingers in the gi. So this is for your own safety, not your partner's safety so much, but if you grip inside somebody's sleeves with 4 fingers, that could potentially get tangled up and break your fingers. So you are allowed to grip the gi, but you just want to try to grip the outside of the material and not actually inside the sleeve. Finger bending, you're not allowed to push individual digits of the fingers back in an attempt to submit your partner via finger lock. When you grip your partner's hand, try to grip as many fingers as possible, if not the whole hand, and at a minimum, grab 3 fingers. Pushing on the trachea. So any technique where you're using your palm to try to crush the trachea is illegal and dangerous. Up next, we got heel hooks. We do not allow our white belts to heel hook at the school. A heel hook is an attack where the attacker isolates an opponent's leg between his or her legs and then twists the opponent's ankle with the aim of causing damage to the opponent's ankle or knee. The attack creates a pressure that's a little bit different. It's not as direct as it would feel from something like an armbar. So typically people think they're okay and then their knee goes pop. So as a person attacking, you want to make sure that you have a good amount of knowledge to understand how to apply it correctly and to safely apply it and not tear somebody else's knee. And with that said, any technique that causes rotational pressure to somebody's knee should be done extremely carefully. MCLs, ACL injuries, they may never heal 100%. So we got to be extremely careful when it comes to people's knees. And in general, anytime you're drilling, anytime you're sparring, any technique that you cannot apply with control is not allowed. If you find yourself giving an armbar to somebody, you must apply that lock with enough control not to hurt your partner. Likewise, any takedown you may be doing to somebody, you must be able to control their body well enough to be able to put them safely back to the mat. If you are slamming somebody or throwing them to the mat, well, that's not it. That's not a safe way to train, and you may lose training partners because of this, and you may lose your right to spar. If you have any questions on techniques that may be legal or illegal, please ask an instructor. When sparring, you should really only be doing techniques that you have been taught by a qualified instructor. That way you'll know how to do the technique properly and safely. You're not going against the grain and injuring people. So please be careful out there. Up next, we got rolling with lower ranks and people in smaller weight classes. Over time, you'll get to know your teammates along with their skill level and how hard they like to train. Please keep in mind, for example, if someone is a blue belt, the second rank in Jiu-Jitsu, they may have only been grappling for over a year. They are still pretty new in their journey and may wish to spar lightly, looking to explore technique. Sometimes new people try to compensate for their lack of knowledge by trying to use muscle and sporadic explosive movements to try and beat someone in sparring. And this is a common way people get hurt. The most dangerous person on the mat is not a black belt, it is often a white belt. When rolling with someone lighter than you, try to imagine you are their weight class. Try not to force things. Try to focus on the techniques you have been shown so far, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask your training partner or instructor. Remember, in the end, Jiu-Jitsu is about technique. You may feel you're doing good if you're attaining certain positions or submissions by muscling or forcing submissions. In the end, this can develop some pretty bad habits. You want to be using efficient movements. You want to be using your partner's energy against them, not going against the grain. Keeping yourself and others safe during class and during sparring. Firstly, remember, don't spar injured. If you're injured, stay home, rest. If the injury's bad, go see a doctor. And listen to the advice of your medical professional. Secondly, you do not have to spar with anybody you are not comfortable or familiar with. You have the right to decline anyone's invitation to spar. Please never feel pressured to. It is perfectly okay to say, no thanks, I'm taking this round off. I prefer to roll with someone lighter today, or simply no thank you. Anyone that pressures or ridicules somebody for not wanting to roll should be reported to an instructor or manager. It is not okay. Thirdly, you can alert the instructor to anybody who seems out of control of their body or showing no interest in the well-being of their training partners. Fourth, you should be properly instructed on how to do a technique before you try it in live sparring. Again, this is to ensure that you are not going to hurt somebody by trying to do a technique that you have not properly been taught. And number 5, be aware of your surroundings during all portions of class. Most injuries happen by accident, but some are due to someone not being present of their surroundings. It is not uncommon to see two groups sparring and one group goes crashing into the other. You must be aware of the people around you and utilize the mat space available. Tapping out. So anytime you're locked in a submission hold, a choke, or you feel a body part might be compromised, or you're just in a general state of discomfort, be sure to tap early. Tapping can be done by gently but firmly tapping your training partner. You may also use your foot and stomp the mat, creating a noise loud enough for your training partner to hear if your arms are unavailable to tap. You can also combine this with a verbal tap. Just say tap, loud enough for your training partner to hear, and they will let go of the lock. By tapping out, you are telling your training partner to immediately let go of the submission. So if you are the one applying a lock and you hear or feel a tap, be sure to safely disconnect from your partner as soon as you hear or feel it. Please remember, if you are caught in a submission hold, to let go of your ego. It is not uncommon for new people to try to tough it out and try to escape a submission that is already set in and they really have no chance to escape. So tap out early, tap often. Every time you tap, it's a learning experience. You'll stay healthy and you won't be sidelined with injuries. And some other rules. So if two groups are moving towards one another when sparring or drilling, it could be a potentially dangerous situation. One group must move away. Traditionally, the group that has a lower belt rank will move first, but both parties should be willing to move to a less crowded area. If you're doing takedowns, be aware of your training partners on the ground. You must be aware of your surroundings to avoid crashing into a grounded teammate. Also, you want to be careful of the edge of the mat. The frame of the mat is made of hard wood. After that, it's a rug with concrete underneath. So be aware where you are at all times. If you hit the edge of the mat, just reset towards the middle. Alright, then we got the consequences. What happens if you don't follow the rules? First minor offense is a warning. The second minor offense, you will be banned from sparring with the white belts. Third minor or major offense is suspension from sparring altogether. And then your fourth minor or second major infraction will result in being banned from the gym.